Hi everyone, welcome back to the channel. Thank you for tuning in. Today we're talking about budgeting tools and looking at some options to help you budget. There's no denying that budgeting is an integral part of your personal finance journey, and it's great to talk about creating a plan, saving money, and tracking your spending. But when it comes down to it, how do we actually do that? I was inspired by watching a ton of Millennial Money episodes. There are a lot of clips showing people on their computers going over spreadsheets and apps that they use to keep track of their finance. So I thought I would create this video and give you guys some options and talk about some options that are out there, ranging from the beginner pen and paper all the way to the most advanced paid for apps that you can find out there. So budgeting is important to us because if we don't earn all that much and we spend a ton, we're not gonna have any money at the end of the day for savings, or we're gonna spend too much on things that we shouldn't be spending, and we're not going to have enough money left over for those things that we really need to spend our money on. Without a budget, without tracking, you don't know where your money is going. You can't visualize what the picture looks like. And if you ever need to save or need to cut down on expenses, you don't know what to target because you don't have a good idea of what you're spending in the first place. Assuming that we can't just make more money to solve all of our finance problems. In terms of budgeting itself, there's a lot of info out there, from the 50-20-30 rule, how you should budget and spend your money. Maybe you have your own rules that you follow, all of which are great. Theoretical, abstract, great place to start. Definitely have to think about it first before you can put it into action. But you've come up with a plan, you've thought about what you should be spending and what you shouldn't be spending on, and now you need to keep track. So how do you do it? Do I go through all of my monthly statements, my bank account statements, credit card statements, and just keep it in a notebook somewhere? Write down line by line whatever I spend, whatever I make? Or do I take a more high-tech approach? We're going to cover some of these examples next. And the first category of these, the online platforms. Mint.com, an example that everyone throws out there. I have an account, I've used it in the past, and some of the pros is that it's a really quick and easy way for you to have everything in one place. Gives you one dashboard, and it's fairly easy to use and understand. So a lot of platforms have this, but one of the great advantages is that you can link your accounts, so your bank accounts or your credit card accounts, directly to your Mint.com account, and it will pull information from that in a real-time basis to show you what you're spending your money on. If I have a bank account with one bank, a credit card with this bank, another credit card with this bank, I pay my utilities through this portal, it'll take all that information and update your budget for you. The two main problems here is that, one, things might not be labeled correctly all the time. It uses the merchant category that comes in from your credit card, but sometimes if it's unable to tell what that is, then it won't know where to put that category. So for example, if you have a $200 budget a month for eating out at restaurants and you go somewhere, you eat out, or maybe you pay your friends, the check is split, that transaction doesn't show up on your credit card, it's not coded as eating out or restaurant. If you don't do anything else and you just look at your Mint.com profile, that money won't show up under food expenses. And number two, more importantly, is that you do have to give all of your banking details over to the platform, to the website. You have to sign in with your banking credentials. Some people might not be comfortable doing this, so that's just one consideration you have to have. Giving details to your accounts in exchange for this convenience and ease of use for the automatic importing. Another platform, Wally, similar to Mint.com, more app-based, making it simple, easy to use platform to keep track of your expenses, what's coming in, what you're spending it on, all these fancy charts for you to visualize, pie charts, bar graphs to show you how much you're spending in each category. Very similar idea as well. Next up, YNAB. You need a budget. Very simply put, a lot of people say this is a great tool to track your finances because it forces you to think about how you're spending every single penny that you earn. There's a ton of resources, a very powerful tool. They even have videos and guides on there for you, but The only downside, and the biggest downside, is that it is paid. So in my opinion, there are so many free resources out there. The whole point of budgeting is to look at what you're spending your money on and to cut out anything that's unnecessary or that you don't absolutely need. So since there are so many free options out there, unless you really have a lot of money left over, money to spend, I don't think you should go for any paid options, because this is just adding another $10 to $20 a month that you have to pay for a service to help you save money. You can just save money by not using the service. I don't buy their marketing or advertising saying that people save money using this. They're saving money by having a budget and using a budgeting tool. It is a powerful tool, but if you're disciplined, I really think you can get by with a free option perfectly fine, not paying for anything. So that was just a very brief overview of online tools and apps. There are dozens and dozens of them. You can just do a quick Google search for free budgeting tools or search up in your app store, and maybe you can find one that fits your style. But that's the first major category. The second general category out here are spreadsheets. So more DIY approach. If you're great at Excel, there's an endless amounts of things you can do, adding functionality and making it look as polished as any of the apps out there. The upsides about this is these are usually free, and even if you're not good at creating spreadsheets, a lot of the job is done for you. There are tons of resources and spreadsheets that other people have made that are put out there. You can just download, grab, and use. You don't have to reinvent the wheel. Not every single person that wants to budget has to create a new spreadsheet every time they want to budget. But the downsides to this is that there's less functionality. It might not look as good or as polished as an app. And obviously the convenience isn't there. You can't have this in an app format. It might work better on a PC or a laptop. So if you're out and about on your phone, the spreadsheet on that tiny screen might not be as good. If you don't need all the bells and whistles, don't need the convenience features, just want a no-nonsense way to keep track of your finances, this is another way to do it. Obviously, you won't be able to automatically import from your bank accounts. Maybe if you have another spreadsheet, you can import data into your Excel sheets, but it's not going to be as easy. There will be some manual entry involved. But you can also see that as a plus side, a positive. If you have to put in line by line every single item, it forces you to review your budget and it forces you to review your credit card statements. It's not coming in automatically. You have to look at it. You have to sit down every month and say, all right, I'm going to take an hour this weekend and go through my bills last month, see what it is, put it all into my spreadsheet. It definitely makes you more focused, more engaged, a more hands-on method, which some people may find helpful, just forcing yourself to do it and not letting yourself be lazy and just glancing at an app or dashboard. So with these spreadsheets, I found a great tool online, Aspire Budgeting. They've created a Google Doc online that you can just go sign into your account and copy over. It looks very pretty, lots of functionality built in, so this is already done for you. If you do other searches, there's a ton of Excel templates that people have, or Microsoft Office even has some beginner templates. So if you're more of a DIY, you know what you're doing in Excel, you can build off of one of these and really make it your own and run with it. And the last category, not as feature-rich or as dynamic as the first two, built-in tools offered by your bank or credit card. Sometimes they'll have monthly summaries or breakdowns of what you're spending your money on with certain banks or credit cards. Now here, you won't be able to have all your data, all your expenditures in one place if you're using multiple credit cards or multiple banks within your different accounts. But if you are keeping it simple, let's say you only have one bank account, a couple credit cards, all with the same bank, and they offer that functionality, it's all integrated, great way to view your stuff without messing around with any third parties. Less functionality, but check with your credit card. They may offer some type of service to help you keep track of your spending. So these were just a couple things to help you budget, some budgeting tools for you to use after we've thought about and done the budgeting discussion. The only thing I would add on here is that if you are just starting out, keep it simple, do something free like an app or a website or a spreadsheet. Keep it simple. The goal here is to get into good habits of reviewing your expenses, going through line by line and looking at what you're spending your money on. If you've never actually sat down and done this, you can really learn a lot about yourself, either things that you're doing well, maybe some things that you think you're spending too much money on, but when you sit down at the end of the day, it's actually not too bad. And other things where you probably wouldn't have guessed that you're spending that much money on every month, you actually are. So sit down, take a look at it. It's a fun little activity, and it really comes into use when you need to squeeze out the extra dollar, cut out unnecessary expenditures. I think it's a great way to keep track of things. So that's all I had today. If you have any other things, tools that you're using or suggestions that you have, be sure to leave a comment down below. If you liked the video, thought it was helpful using some of these things yourself, be sure to hit that like button. Really appreciate the support. And as always, if you're not subscribed to the channel yet, be sure to hit that red subscribe button, turn on the notifications, get notified every time I upload a new video. Personal finance, credit cards, insurance, all that great stuff. Subscribe to the channel. Thank you so much for watching. Peace out.